We have a saying here at Chat Sports, and it goes like this: sub 4 dubs. If you think the Texans are going to win the AFC South, hell, if you believe in this Texans team winning in the playoffs, go down and hit that subscribe button. I know it's been a roller coaster season. There's been some highs. There's been quite a few lows, but I truly believe when it comes to crunch time, this team is going to deliver. And if you agree with me, if you love this team, and if you want daily Texans videos all year long, go down and hit that subscribe button. 100% free Texans content 24/7. On today's show, I'm going to give you 3 things the Texans must improve on during the bye week if they want to contend with the big dogs. If they want to hang with the best teams in the AFC, they've got to make these 3 changes. Change number 1. They need to run block better across the board, not just the offensive line. I actually was, reviewing the tape, watching some of this past week's game up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and something that I noticed a ton of is the Texans, they love to send those tight ends, Cade Stover, Dalton Schultz, in motion into a blocking, formation on an outside run, or in some other instance, maybe have a wide receiver close into the line to block. And across the board, the run blocking, I don't know if it's just the scheme set out by Bobby Slowik, because the run game last year did struggle as well. I don't know if it's the Texans offensive line coach. I don't know if it's just the coaching staff in general, or we just don't have the right guys to block up along the offensive front. But the run blocking is just not there. Every time I see this Texans team attempt a running play, it seems like more often than not, whoever's running the ball, either if it's a wide receiver on a jet sweep or if it's Joe Mixon or somebody else in the background or in the backfield, looks like they're running for their life and there's no open holes for them to exploit. The tape doesn't lie. And it seems like every run of 10-plus yards that Joe Mixon has made this year, barring a couple, I know that Cowboys long touchdown run, he seemingly went untouched into the end zone. Then again, the Cowboys are one of the worst defensive fronts in the entire NFL. But it seems like more often than not, Joe Mixon has to make magic happen in the backfield if he wants anything to happen. And he's done that quite a few times this year. But, in the playoffs, when you're playing up against the best defensive fronts in the NFL, when you're playing up against the Ravens front 7, when you're playing up against the Chiefs front 7, it's not going to be easy. And you're not going to get those runs where Joe Mixon is able to make two or three guys miss. You need to run block better, give him some open running lanes, because it seems like more often than not, he's getting 2 or 3 yard gains, even negative yards on run plays. But Joe Mixon, he's still been one of the best running backs in the NFL, in my opinion. I think if I had to answer this question, fill in the blank, you know what? I'll tell you my thoughts in just a second. Before I give you my answer, though, scroll on down and let me know. Joe Mixon is the blank best running back in the NFL. Fill in the blank for me. You get hit with the YouTube ad break. Perfect timing. Scroll on down and give me your answer. Joe Mixon is the blank best running back in the NFL. I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go 4 for Joe Mixon this season. I think he's been fantastic. You got to go with Saquon, Derrick Henry, and then I'm going to cheat and go the Lions backfield at number 3. But if he's going to be a top 3 running back, if he's going to be the best running back this postseason, it's going to start with these guys up front. It's going to start with Jarrett Patterson. It's going to start with Juice Scruggs, Shaq Mason. The interior of this offensive line has not done well run blocking. And it sucks because, this isn't me still wanting to crap on the offensive line. They've gotten a lot better, especially in the pass protection game. Jarrett Patterson is a really good pass protector at the center spot. The thing, though, is you get better in pass protection with him, but you lose a little bit in the run blocking game. He's not a mauler. Neither is Juice Scruggs. Those aren't, big guys who are going to move the pile in the middle of that offensive line. So in the running game, you're kind of hoping that you get some help from your wide receivers and tight ends and get, some movement. And there it's been wishy-washy as well. Dalton Schultz, Cade Stover have done okay in the run blocking department, but it's not anything to write home to mama about. And like I said, this offensive line is at best average at run blocking. So you need to work on the run blocking schemes. You need to work on getting, more, open looks for Joe Mixon in space, because running outside, running inside, he's had to make guys miss. And when it comes to playoff time, when it comes to January, when it comes to, possibly playing in cold weather games, because you're not going to get a home game where the Texans are sitting right now in the playoff standings, you're going to have to go to Arrowhead. You're going to have to go up to Baltimore. You're going to have to travel to win in the playoffs if you're the Houston Texans this year, and you're going to need a good running game. In the playoffs, I know everybody likes the, chicks dig the long ball. Everybody loves, a quarterback throwing for 400, 500 yards. But whenever it comes playoff time, you need to have a decent running game to win close games. And the Texans need to improve on that drastically if they want to contend. I'll get into 2 more changes the Texans need to make in just a moment, but couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor over at Game Time. They're my go-to ticketing app, and they should be your go-to ticketing app as well. There's nothing in the world like watching a live sporting event. Sharing those moments with friends and family is amazing. I still remember my first Texans game that I went to, and that's why today's sponsor, Game Time, is such an amazing app, because you can buy tickets in just seconds and with just a few taps. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. And if you look on the screen right now, one of my favorite features is the Game Time picks on that left picture with Dolphins at Texans. I have Game Time picks selected and the all-in pricing. 2 very important features. Game Time Picks basically filters out the fluff and shows you the very best deals on the app for whatever event you're trying to go to. And the all-in pricing ensures that you won't be bamboozled with hidden fees or extra charges at checkout. The price you see is the price you get. That's why I absolutely love Game Time. So get started today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Change number 2 the Texans are going to have to make. Safeties and corners, they're going to have to stop biting so much on double moves and allowing the deep ball. If I saw anything over these past 2 weeks up against the Titans and up against the Jaguars, it is that our corners are very aggressive. And whenever our defensive line is absolutely getting after the quarterback and making his life a living HE double hockey sticks, then that's okay. You can be ultra aggressive on those slants, on those posts. But it's kind of bit the Texans in the butt the past 2 weeks. Eric Murray has fallen victim to it. Jimmy Ward has fallen victim to it as well, where Jimmy Ward, not as much biting, but more, just kind of being flat-footed and not being ready to defend the deep ball. And you can actually leave me on screen for this one, Coop, if you want to. Yeah, this is perfect. I want to show y'all a couple clips from these past couple weeks. So this is up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You see right here, this is Brian Thomas in between Derek Stingley, who had a really, really good game, and Kalen Bullock. Got him on a double move, and here's the other angle of it. He has a couple steps on both of these guys. If this is a better placed ball, he's off to the races. That's a touchdown going the other way. And it's not just a problem that the Texans have faced this week. You go 2 weeks ago, up against the Tennessee Titans. This is a dirty move. This is Eric Murray right here, who I was just saying bit on the double move. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, he just made a little move to the outside. This is his first step going upfield. Look where he's going, and look where Eric Murray's going. Eric Murray is fully biting on this fake, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is ready to explode. And what happens on this very next picture, Coop? You see it right here? He's off to the races. Now, this one, Will Levis did deliver a better ball, and that was a touchdown that ended up being a huge factor because the Texans lost this game up against the Tennessee Titans. So I've seen it as a somewhat of a trend the past 2 weeks up against, two teams that I don't consider to be very good offenses in the NFL, in the Titans and the Jags. And the problem is when you face the best QBs in the playoffs, in the AFC in particular, they're going to complete those balls and they're going to make you pay. So you got to stop, biting on the fakes, on those double moves. And I know you might give up, a couple more posts, a couple more deep outs that way, but those deep balls, they can kill you in the playoffs. And when you look at the quarterbacks that you could potentially be facing in the playoffs, yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. If you're the Texans, more likely than not, I mean, in the first weekend in the wild card game, you're probably going to face either Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, or Russell Wilson. So you got to be able to defend the deep ball because all these guys, I'm telling you, these are all elite guys at completing balls 20-plus yards down the field. So that's change number 2. The Texans must be more disciplined on the back end and stop biting on those double moves and, stop getting beat deep in coverage. So now that leads me to change number 3. And this one's a little bit more out there. It's a little bit more abstract, but it's something that I've noticed this season. CJ Stroud needs to find his swagger again. This whole season, he has struggled, and he's not been the same CJ Stroud that we know and love. Has he been a bad quarterback? No, I think he's still shown why he's one of the better young quarterbacks in this league. Has he been exposed a little bit? I do think so. 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on the year. I mean, almost doubling his interception total from last season because, CJ Stroud, his rookie year, was incredible. Look at these numbers. In 15 games, by the way, almost 64% completion percentage, over 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a QB rating of 100.8. He has not been that same guy this season. So I really want to be able to, see CJ Stroud find his swagger again, be able to, find that same level of, he doesn't have that same aura that he had last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, the Texans offense as a whole has struggled this year. We added Stephon Diggs, but, CJ Stroud, he needs to find his groove because the wide receiver core, it was never fully intact for more than 3 games. He wasn't ever really able to unlock this wide receiver room. And other than that, the offensive line has kind of let him down this year. The Texans, I believe a couple of weeks ago, were number 1 in the NFL in pressures allowed. They were top 5 in sacks allowed. They were top 5 in hurries as well. And that's really affected Stroud and his, mental clock, his progressions on pass plays. It's affected him, and you can see it on the field. I want this CJ Stroud that we saw up against the Bills in week 5, where he hit Nico Collins on a deep ball and hit this to the sideline. That's what we need more of. We need CJ to have fun again. Make football fun again for the Houston Texans. I want to see CJ Stroud jumping on the sidelines, having fun with his guys, waving the towel, doing what he does best, balling out. And we haven't seen that. We've seen an upset CJ Stroud. We've seen a frustrated offense. Even in wins this year, they haven't felt like wins, really? Because, you were barely beating teams that you were probably ahead of early in the game and kind of let them claw back, kind of like we saw this past week up against Jacksonville. And we haven't seen the Texans play their A-plus game this year. We haven't. I don't think we've even seen them play an A game this year. On both sides of the ball, we have not seen it at all. And especially on the offensive side of the football, I don't think we've seen an A game from this Texans team. Maybe the Cowboys, but even still, is that an A game? You needed the defense to make a play late to really put that one away. I don't think we've seen this offense at its best. And I think that's why a lot of people are possibly calling for Bobby Slowik at the end of this year. But I really do think if the Texans make those 3 changes, along with run blocking in the secondary and getting CJ Stroud his swagger back, this team can 100% contend in the AFC this season. Reminder, hit that sub button. You made it to the end of the video. Why not sub? Come on. Hey, I must be doing something right. You're all the way here at the very end of the video. So if you love what you saw today, if you love the Houston Texans, if you want more Texans content, well, you're in the right place. Go down and hit that subscribe button. 100% free videos all year long and weekly live shows on game days. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button and join Texans today.